Yo, what's going on? Welcome to another episode of the It's Needed Podcast, where we discuss real issues involving law enforcement in the community. It's your boy Ryan Tillman, founder of Breaking Bears United, and I am joined by the light-skinned wonder himself, Mr. Oh No, it's the Popo. What's up, Brody?
I can't call it, bro. Was that a? Oh, there it is. I can't call it, brother. Can't call it.
I just noticed, and how come AJ always gets the applause? I don't never get an applause, but it's cool.
That's because you know why.
It's a little tougher. You start us off.
Oh man, we're also joined by the Savage himself, who's not on screen today. He got so scared away from last week that he decided to come in today, and that was priority number one: is how do I not be on screen? We are joined by the Savage. What's going on,
yes,
Billy?
by request, I'm not on screen today.
By his own request.
By his own personal request.
Yeah.
Oh man, what is going on? But it is early, man. I'm telling you, I don't know. I wake up early every single day for work, but man, today was hard, bro. I don't know what it was, but it was hard.
When it's your day off and you gotta wake up early, it's different. You just be like, man, I gotta get up. I could probably push this back a little bit. And it's what, 7 o'clock?
Bruh, it was hard. Yeah, man. It was one of those where I like grabbed my phone to like hit the snooze or whatever, and I just held the phone in my hand, like because you just keep snoozing it every time it goes off. And like 45 minutes later, bro, I was like, oh shoot, I'm still in bed.
I set like 3 separate alarms just in case.
3, Brad. Let me show y'all something. Let me show y'all my alarm screen. Y'all about to judge me. Listen.
No, hey, I ain't gonna judge you.
Hey, my alarms are no joke, man. They be like 5 minutes apart.
Golly, yeah, you do. You on the level.
And then I got a work phone now. So I set this one as my I gotta get up. Like if the work phone go off, then I gotta get up. So it'll be alarms all over my bedroom. I'll be like, oh, I can't find
man. Today was one of those that hurt because I woke up like mid-dream. I had like 2 vivid dreams last night. One dream, so I'm on a spiritual fast right now.
Yep.
And so we're doing it. Me and my wife are doing the Daniel's fast, so where you can only eat things that come from the ground. So like fruits, vegetables, and it's a 20-day fast, bro. So we're over. Next week is the last Sunday is over. Man, it's been hard. It's been hard. It's been good. It's been hard though. But tell me why I had a dream last night, bro, where I was at like some type of event and I got hungry, bro. So I went to the snack bar and ordered some garlic sliders with garlic fries, bro.
That's a victory meal.
like vivid, bro. And then, but this is where I was kind of happy and proud of myself. Like I remembered that I was on the fast. And so I just walked up to the stadium and just gave it to somebody. I was like,
here you go.
And I remember chewing some of the fries. Like somehow they just ended up like a fry ended up in my mouth. I was like, well, it's already in my mouth, so I might as well just eat that.
Yeah, the fast be different. And you gotta be careful when you come off of a fast because you just can't eat anything. It'll tear you up.
Yeah,
you gotta eat back into it.
Yeah, you can't just jump right into that bad boy, bro. This is the longest I've ever went without eating meat, bro. So it's been but it's been good, man. God has been revealing some things in my life through it. So proud about that one. And then the other dream I had, bro, I had a dream that I don't know, man. I was at my house and like I was watching through some binoculars, like some dude or somebody got assassinated from like across the street.
Dang, you just watching?
Bro, like through some
yeah,
right. Through some binoculars, bro. And so I was like, I told and I knew he was coming to our house next. So I'm like trying to get the kids and the wife like to get out of the house. And this typical family. Like I kept having to tell them, like, come on, we gotta go like now. And everybody's dragging their feet, like not a care in the world, bro. Like, not a care in the world.
Captain Crunch.
Bro. Yeah. I'm like the only one that's stressing out about this, bro.
You're about to die.
I'm like the only one, like, let's go. Like, and then I got I was like, well, we gotta do that. I'm like, let's go. And then somebody came to the back door, and I just remember like trying to strangle him. I'm like, you see, like I'm not lying. Like we got to go.
You try to see that's the difference between Cali and the rest of the nation. He trying to strangle him. You come to my back door, I got something for you.
Nah, I was just trying to do some real Jack Bauer / Shaq Reefer type stuff. You know what I mean? So, but yeah, that's what's going on your guys' end, man. Enough about what I got in my life.
It's snowing here.
Is it really?
Here. Yeah, man. We're gonna get like about 2 to 4 inches. It's coming down right now. I can see through the window. So
that's terrible.
No, snow is great. Snow is great.
You know,
we have like crazy wind over here right now. like 30 miles an hour, or I don't know. Trees getting knocked down and stuff.
Yeah, but it's like 30 mile per hour, 60-degree winds.
Oh, it's still beautiful.
Hey, it's good to look at.
It's shorts weather. It's just windy.
So I work like special duty at bars on the weekends. And the other night it was 5 degrees outside. And you standing outside the bar for 4 hours. 5.
Wow. Are you serious?
Yeah, it has not sickles.
5 degrees. Who was the first guy to just plant a city right there?
Man, all right. So it's funny because watching yesterday's, I was watching yesterday's football game. You know, go 49ers. You know what I mean? Can we get a round of applause for the 49ers? You know,
can we get a round of applause for the Bengals though? I mean, Ohio holding it down right now.
Bro, you're not even a Bengals fan though.
I'm not. But I mean,
crickets.
Is that what that is? That sounds like a squeaky wheel. Like, I don't know if them is crickets.
Hey, that's some great crickets. Come on.
Oh man. But anyway, so I'm watching the game, and as I'm watching the game, I almost forgot. Like, I was like, oh, so we were watching the game, you know, snowing and stuff like that in Lambeau. And so as it's snowing, like we had got Kimberly had ordered some food or whatever, so the doorbell rang, and when I opened the door, I don't know, for like a second I thought I was about to be freezing outside because I had been so used to watching the football game. And I opened the door, I was like, oh, it's nice out here. It's like 70 degrees still. We good. So I was like, man, it's a lot better to look at cold weather from the TV or your phone than it is to actually be living it.
You ain't lying, man. You don't want to do nothing when it's cold either. Like, you be looking outside like, nah, I'll stay in here and order some pizza.
Right. So, but hey, let's jump into it. I don't want to keep going back and forth on our banter because, you know, we'll probably lose a lot of fans. I have a really strong feeling that this podcast today is going to turn into one of our passion episodes, which we haven't had a passion episode in a while. But I have a really strong feeling that's what is about to happen, and you guys will see why as we get to these topics. But first topic, I want to show you guys a quick picture that I saw yesterday on Instagram that was kind of interesting, and I don't know if this is real news. So let me leave my disclaimers. I don't know if this is real news, but in 2022, I don't see why it's not real news. I mean, we're dealing with so many other things where, you know, women can compete in male sports and vice versa. I don't want to get controversial or political, but I don't see why this is not a real news headline just because you'll see why it is. Go ahead and pull that up for me, Billy. It says, family of carjacker fatally shot by vehicle owners wants charges for shooter. He did not have to shoot him. It's a car. All he had to do is call the police. You don't shoot somebody out in the street over a car.
Come on, man.
Right? No, see over here, AJ or Billy over here giving giving you guys a sneak peek of what topic to talk about.
Yeah, I loaded it in. It popped up.
But no, let's talk about this for a second because I mean this is just outrageous. This is outlandish. The mere fact that somebody wants to press charges against a person that defended themselves from a carjacking. Come on, man. Seriously.
It'd be like imagine you was like walking your dog and your dog got loose and started attacking somebody, and then they kicked your dog to get the dog off of them, and they're like, I'm suing you because you kicked my dog.
Yeah. Like, right. That it makes no sense at all. And so here's the thing is why, and I've talked about this so many times on my social media platforms, is why are we always so quick to point blame on the person that is responding to a situation or, you know, as presented with the situation where they got to defend themselves, as opposed to judging or criticizing the person that caused the situation in the first place. We see this all the time when it comes to police work, because this isn't even police related. It sounds like a case of self-defense. This guy goes to carjack somebody, and the guy that he's carjacking is like, not today, and ends up blasting him in the street. My point is that your son or whoever it was would have never been blasted or shot if he would have never tried to carjack nobody. And like, why are we not pointing the finger there? Why are we not holding these people accountable that are actually causing these situations in the first place? And that's just kind of what infuriates me now, is we live in a society where it's better to point the finger at the person that tried to defend themselves or, you know, try to prevent themselves from having any type of harm, as opposed to, you know, criticizing the perpetrator.
And it's so different than like how we grew up. Maybe I should speak for myself. It's completely different how I grew up, because I remember, I mean, I had to be probably, I don't know, 13 maybe. Me and two of my buddies were at like a card store. This is like back when like the cards were just the thing, like baseball cards, football cards, Pokemon cards, all of that. And we were at a card store, and one of my buddies got caught stealing. So they snatched all three of us up and put us in the back room and made us call our parents. And my mom shows up, she's like, okay, like what happened? So the guy's like, yeah, his buddy was stealing, and we kind of snatched them all up because we think that they all were going to steal, or we thought one was like acting like as a distraction, they were in cahoots or whatever. Hey, my mom wore me out in front of security. It was like, I'm beating you because you was with him. And I'm like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it is so different now, because it's like the mindset now would have been, well, why'd you grab my son and put him in the back room? And did you give him water? And did you give him chips, instead of like forcing him to take accountability for his actions? So
yeah,
it's just foreign, but it just goes to show you that, and actually this is good. This is good, because it does go to show you where people's minds are. But I have to remind people that this is still news because it's an exception. And I feel like a lot of times, like we hear these headlines over and over and over again, and we're like, oh, the world's ending, it's so whatever, but it's still like the exception, which is why it's news. And the same thing with like a lot of these like police involved incidents. Like we see something that's really bad, or looks really bad, and people are just like, oh my goodness, police, or blah blah blah. But it's like, it's the exception, which is why it's breaking news. So it's still a small percentage of people that do stuff like this.
You're absolutely right. Absolutely right. So let's transition really quickly. What I want to do, actually, before we get to this next segment, if you guys are watching this on YouTube or Facebook, make sure you guys give us a live, or not a live, give us a like and subscribe, because again, that helps bump us up in the algorithm. We do want to make sure this podcast continues to grow and have success, which I will tell you guys by the numbers and talking to Billy, our podcast numbers have been going up. So it sounds like you guys are liking the new way we're doing this production. And if you guys haven't noticed, this is a pre-recorded podcast. We're actually recording this on Sunday, simply because I'm gonna be out of town tomorrow, and AJ has some stuff to do as well. So this is a pre-record. That's why we're not really taking any questions or comments, just because everybody is not really live with us right now. So why y'all laugh? Why y'all, you and Billy just laughing at me, and then I start thinking like, did I screw something up?
Nah, you good. You good.
Oh,
and shout out to I can't think of your name, sorry, but the guy that I ran into at the academy the other day, he was like, hey, I listened to the podcast. He's in the process for a police department.
Oh, cool, man.
And I asked him, I said, hey, we kind of switched it up recently. We got this live thing going on. And he was like, no, I like it. It's more interactive. So shout out to you for the input.
That's cool. Shout out to all of our academy attendees right now. Everybody that's in the academy. I know we have a lot of people that listen to this that are currently in the academy. So shout out to you guys. We appreciate you guys, and keep up the good work. So
maybe we got to do another academy
diary.
Yeah. Or not Academy Diaries, but like an episode specifically for like recruits, or like people, transition. Maybe we should do that.
It's been a while.
Yeah, we can definitely do that. We'll add that to the lineup here within the next few weeks. What I want to do is I want to transition before we actually get into the topic. Billy, do me a favor and put up the picture of the officer that just lost his life. I really want to send my condolences out to Officer Jason Rivera. He was one of the new NYPD officers that was shot and killed a couple of nights ago. Him and his partner, I think his partner's still fighting for their life, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, he was shot and killed, and this has me heavy, man. This situation has me heavy. I actually saw a video of him. I'll see if we can pull it up before the end of this podcast. But there was a video of him that was shared. I actually put it on our stories, and man, he's a young guy. I think he was, very like 21 or 22 or 23 years old. Very, very young. Had his whole life ahead of him. They responded to a situation, and it sounds like, based on the initial reports that I read, that he was ambushed and he was killed. But what really has me, what really has my blood boiling about this is that this was the fourth officer involved, or this was a fourth shooting of a police officer in New York City in a month. And that's tough. So my condolences go out to Officer Rivera's family and some of the other officers that were killed this week. There was another officer killed out here in California who was struck by an intoxicated driver. And that was also another tough one. So RIP to them, and our condolences to their families. We will be praying for you guys. We know it's going to be tough. And I couldn't let this podcast go without making sure I gave a shout out to them, because their legacies will live on.
Yeah, we had a Cleveland police officer who was shot and killed during a carjacking. Actually, a female, I believe, was trying to steal his car, and he was trying to prevent that from happening, and she ended up shooting and killing him. And I'm in the honor guard, so we drove up. We sent the team up. I think we sent 2 teams up actually to just pay our respects during the funeral. And we come back, and like 2 days later, I'm just talking to somebody on patrol, and they asked a question similar to, it wasn't exactly this, but it was something to the effect of like, why do y'all act the way that y'all do? Like, why do you always, position yourself in the way that you do? And, you always got your hand on your gun. You're always kind of scanning the crowd. And I just asked them, I was like, well, did you hear any news from like the Cleveland area involving an officer? And they're like, nah. And I'm like, well, exactly. Like, we just had a police officer who was killed, like whose car was, they were in attempting a carjacking. This officer was killed, and like, you heard nothing about it. Like, this stuff happens. So like the same way that a lot of the civilians hear these stories of, crazy police officers doing all these rogue and crazy things, or things that appear to be rogue and crazy, and it affects the way that they think. It's the same way with us. Like, we see these stories because we're in the field, and because these are our brothers and sisters in blue, and like, we hear the details about how it happened. So it changes the way that we maneuver. And it led towards like a really good conversation, but it just goes to really show you that what may be common information for us is not common information for everybody, because this guy had no idea what I was talking about. And this was in our own state, a police officer who was killed in the line of duty. And he was just like, no, what are you talking about? And I, just briefly broke down to him what happened. And he was just like, man, that's crazy. And, I never really thought about that. So, just keep that in mind when you're out there on patrol and you're like interacting with people. Like, the information that we know that changes the way that we maneuver may not be out there for everybody. So, maybe it's your job to share that information to the community that you serve.
Yeah, we can't be oblivious to that fact, that because they don't live in the life, they don't live in the world that we live in, and they're not always having to be on guard like we are, so they don't think like we do. And that's why it's good to educate people. I think one of the main ways we bridge that gap between law enforcement as a community is through education, and part of that education is letting them know why we're always on guard and stuff like that. So that kind of leads me into the topic for today. So I want Billy to go ahead and cue up the video. I saw this. I want to say this is the NYPD commissioner or the chief. Your guys' ranks are a lot different than ours out here, but definitely somebody is a ranking official within the NYPD who had this statement to say after this shooting occurred. Go ahead and play it, Billy.
Well, we're angry because we swore it coming. We're angry because we said it was going to happen, and it happened again. So tonight, these police officers aren't going to sleep. They're going to be out in the street. They're going to do what they need to do. The ones that go home are going to put their heads on their pillow and not going to sleep. And they're going to cry. Well, it's time the city cried with us, and we know they are. But you know what? We stand shoulder to shoulder by the tens of thousands to shoulder our brother. We carried our brother here. We'll shoulder him out this evening. We'll stand in the hallway and we'll pray for a family that's hoping their son, their husband, they come home. But it can't be just us. Yes, we will stand patch to patch and bury our brother. We will bow our heads in sadness.
All right, you're going to stop it. I'm fired up, man. I am fired up by it, because through this there was a lot of comments that went around, and I put up IG, it was yesterday, and there was a lot of comments that came up behind it, and it just really fires me up, because what we should be doing is we should be actually paying tribute to this officer. I made a post the other day that said, we don't sign up to go and get ambushed. We don't sign up to get hit by intoxicated drivers. And obviously there was an overwhelming support that came across for that officer, the police department, everybody that was involved with the situation. But you always have those that got ignorant things to say. And Billy put the first comment. This is one of the ignorant things that somebody had to say, which really made me mad. It said, honestly, what do y'all expect? Community suffered for years. of police brutality and corruption, and now community doesn't give a F about law enforcement officers. The past of corruption and brutality are hunting all Leos of today. And man, that fires me up. Here's why. The first reason it fires me up is, this is what I thought about when I first read that comment. The thing I thought about was, I was like, what if we treated criminals that way? Like, what if we treated criminals or what if we, because we interact with in police work, a majority of the people we interact with are people who commit crimes, that are cussing us out, stealing, committing murders, all this stuff. What if we treated every human being like those people? And our excuse was, well, you know what, this is because you're the people of the community, y'all want to keep acting like this, so you know what, sorry, oh well, this is what's going to happen to you guys because they keep acting the way they do. Like what kind of mentality is that? Like we're paying the sins of corruption for the past. I mean, do other professions are they paying the sins of the past for past corruptions? Because I can tell you now, it's not just police officers that have been corrupt in the past. You can go down the line. Teachers have been corrupt in the past. Pastors have been corrupt in the past. Doctors have been corrupt in the past, still corrupt in many ways. Should those people pay the sins for the corruption that's occurred in those professions? The corruption occurs because of humanality, because we're human beings. Humans are corrupt in many ways because we're sinful at heart. And so I'm not saying that most human beings are good. Most human beings have good hearts, but there are corrupt human beings. And so should we all pay the price of the corruption that has occurred by human beings in general, that has occurred over centuries? Absolutely not. If that was your child, if that was your son, if that was your daughter that was killed, how would you feel if I told you, oh, you know what can you expect? This profession or your family's been corrupt for years. You got to expect that. No. So why are you lessening the death of this man that occurred in the line of duty that was actually responding to a call for service to help somebody out, because you're saying that this is occurring because we're paying the sins of the corruption in the past? That pisses me off, and we shouldn't even allow this type of conversation. We shouldn't even allow this type of behavior in society. But we live in a society now where we're just okay with people saying stuff like this. It's okay for people to go out there and have this mentality that, you know what, these officers are going to pay the sin of corruption, so it's okay for you to murder somebody. It's okay for you to murder an officer in cold blood and just act like you don't care about it because police officers were corrupt in the past. That's the stuff that pisses me off, and we got to start standing up and saying something, speaking out against these people, because if not, these ignorant people, this ignorant mindset, these corrupt people are going to continue to try to take over our country. That's what we're seeing before our eyes right now, and it makes me so infuriated, because I know if that was my son or my daughter, the last thing I want to hear is, well, you know what, you should expect that because the profession has been corrupt by nature, so you should actually expect your son or daughter to get murdered in cold blood and ambushed in the streets while they're responding to a call. I don't know about you, but that fires me up.
Those are the same people who will call us if their neighbor's music is too loud, and I'm 100% convinced of that. The internet has really created an environment where people are comfortable saying things that they would never say to an individual's face. And on top of that, a very small percentage of people who watch a video leave a comment in general. And a comment like this is 1 out of 50, 1 out of 100, 1 out of 1,000. So when you combine those two things, it just tells me a lot about who that person is. And their purpose behind leaving such a comment. A lot of people, like, when they leave comments like this, like, they don't believe it. Like they're typing something like that so they can get a like, and so they could get some clout, and so people could go, yeah, we believe that. We're gonna rally behind this guy's comment that we've never met, we're probably never gonna meet, even though we really don't agree with it, because the first time that somebody does something that I disagree with, I'm gonna call the police. And it helps me, like, navigate through comments like this. I've been in the social media realm for a while now, and I've had videos that have gone viral, and tens of hundreds of thousands of comments. And there's some mean comments out there that stick with you. Just like this one. Like, I hope you die. I hope your wife dies in a car crash and stuff like that. And it's just like, I have to remind myself, like, one, this person would never say that to my face. Ever. Not in a million years. This person would never walk up to me and tell me to my face, I hope your wife dies in a crash. Like, there's zero chance of that ever happening. And two, I need to understand the reason you put that out there is because you're looking for clout. Like you're looking for a like, you're looking for somebody to send you a message on Instagram or Facebook, saying something to the effect of like, I can't believe you said that, I agree with it. So, as frustrating as it is, like, especially when it comes to something like this, that's how I navigate through how much it would normally piss me off when I see those comments. Like, who are you? Like, what are you doing with your life? Like what aspirations do you have? Like, what goals do you have? Like, what foundation do you stand on? Like, what's your relationship with Christ? What's your relationship with your family? Like, how much time do you get out of the house and like have fun? Or are you just a person that sits on your phone 24 hours looking for the opportunity to spread negativity like this? And if that's you, then I feel bad for you. I feel bad for you for leaving a comment like that.
But I mean, I almost feel like we need to start getting angry. And not to say that anger is gonna, because you can channel anger in the right ways. Like, I think sometimes when you get angry, you can use that anger as your fuel to kind of change something without retaliating with more anger or with more strife.
Yeah.
But man, like, we have to stop being passive and stop allowing people to get away like with stuff. And then obviously, I'm a firm believer, and sometimes you just got to ignore the hype and ignore what people say. But man, at the same time, we need more of the silent majority to start speaking up, because we're not going to be able to change things if we don't start speaking up. Right now, you have the vocal minority that keeps vocalizing everything and is making it seem like they are the majority, which we all know they're not.
Yeah.
But at what point do we draw the line and start saying, like, you know what? No, we are going to stand firm on what we believe in. We're going to silence you, and we're going to let you know that you are the minority in this, that you are not what everybody else thinks. And that stuff infuriates me, just because I've been time and time again. I'm gonna see if we can pull one up before the end of this podcast, but I've been to so many different police officer memorial services, and when you attend those things, it is the saddest thing ever. It is the saddest thing ever. And seeing and watching the families, have to go through that. And what makes it so tough is, and what makes these memorial services any different than any other funeral you've ever been to, unless you've had a loved one that was murdered or somebody like that or something like that, what makes these memorials different is because you know that your family member, your loved one, was killed while doing their job by somebody that didn't have any care in the world for their life at all. And it makes it hard to process, because it's like, man, if this person would have not pulled the trigger, if this person would have not, ran over, my dad or my uncle or my mom, like, that's what makes it so much hard to process these memorial services, because that their life could have been preserved if it was just the other person decided not to do such a selfish act. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's what makes it so hard. I mean,
Yeah.
Have you felt the same way, AJ? Because I know you're on the honor guard too, and you've gone to some of these services.
Yeah, and it's a hero's funeral. Like, that's for me, that's the best way to describe it. Like, when you go to these fallen officers' funerals, it's a celebration and a funeral service for a hero, which is why people show up in the thousands and the tens of thousands. And you have people who line the street. When we were in Cleveland, like, Cleveland gets cold. Like, here in Columbus, like, we get cold, but like, Cleveland is a different type of cold. And it was very cold that day, and people were lining the streets. There was a company, I wish I remember the name of it. I wrote it down on a notepad in my honor guard pants. But there was a company who probably had, I don't know, 50 employees. Like, you could tell they shut down the warehouse and they had all 50 employees lining the streets, holding their hands over their hearts, saluting us, waving flags, like, as we drove by. And you're probably talking about 300 to 400 police cruisers. So they're outside in the cold, standing like that, paying their respects for a while. So, it just goes to show you that it is a hero's funeral, and it is a hero's homegoing service. And, Ryan, you're right. Like, we should be upset with this, but upset in a way that we're going to do something to help combat it. And something that I have learned is there's no better way to combat that ignorance to having someone else come to your aid in that time. So I can't tell you how many times I've been in a situation, I told you I work the bars. Okay. And a majority of the bars that I work are like hip hop bars. So they bring a certain crowd. And I can't tell you how many times I've been standing in front of the bar and someone has said something to the effect of, F12, or we don't mess with the police. What you looking at, pig? Something to that effect to me. And then another patron in the bar has come to my defense. Like, hey man, that's AJ, bro. Like, you don't talk to him like that. Like, he one of us, or, like, hey, you need to come correct when you talk to him. And that puts him in check way more than it ever would if I was to put him in check. So what we need to focus on is creating that environment where we don't have to defend ourselves because we're so busy being defended by others. And I know it's hard, especially in times like this, where we lost a brother, like we lost a hero to a senseless act of violence. And I don't want to turn his life, I don't want to turn his legacy, I don't want to turn his loss into a community relations thing or into a this is what we could do better as policing thing, because that would be an extreme poor taste. But what I'm saying is to avoid this behavior of social media warriors and people who hop on these social media platforms and feel the need to spread hate and negativity and be extremely divisive. These are the things that will help us in that realm of things. The more people that we have on our sides who are willing to go above and beyond to show that support, it will combat that before it ever gets given to us to combat, if that makes sense.
No, it makes total sense. It makes total sense. And I think you have the right mentality about how we need to do that and how we need to continue to just, combat the ignorance with education, combat it with, being able to be empathetic to why they feel what they feel and what they say and stuff like that. I think that's what kind of makes us have to, or that's how we fight this battle, this uphill battle that we're in. Hey, Billy, I sent you 2 videos. Download the second one, not the first one, because the second one, it's kind of long, so I don't know if it's going to take a while, but if you can, then do it, because there's something I want to play at the end of that. The last thing I want to say is before we move to the end of this podcast is here's another comment that I got, and I want to really address this because this is also now the person that sent this comment. I'm not going to put them up there just because they're actually a friend of mine, and I think we can actually learn from his comment. So I'm not putting this comment up. I'm not going to address this comment from the sense of I'm going to try to make it confrontation or anything like that, but I want to address it because I think we can learn from it, because I hear this very, very frequently, especially when police officers get killed in the line of duty. And it says, so my comment was, or my caption for the video was, just listen to the passion and hurt. Something has got to change. And this was in reference to the commander that gave that, that I don't want to call it a speech, but when he was giving his message to the crowd. So this is what my buddy said. He said, same passion as a mother whose innocent kid is killed by a cop. Passion should be mutual for all parties, no matter what. 100. Nobody innocent deserves to die. The first thing I will address and say that, yes, he's absolutely right. Nobody innocent deserves to die. That is factual. But the thing is that I would tell you that they're the same. Police officers have the same passion when they make a mistake and they unlawfully kill somebody in the line of duty. I mean, we can go back and talk about the situation a few weeks ago where the officer accidentally killed that 14-year-old girl in Burlington Coat Factory when he was responding to the call. I know for a fact that officer, that department had a level of passion for that family because a mistake was made. And that was an innocent bystander. But sadly, we start to convolute innocent people that aren't truly innocent and that are killed while they're doing some sort of crime by police. We like to think that a lot of these people that are killed by police were absolutely innocent when they're not. If you look up the statistics, and I don't have the FBI statistics up right now, but if you look up statistics, you will see that 99.9% of the people that are killed by police are actually justifiable shootings or justifiable homicides, is what I would say, just because that person that they killed were doing something that put that officer in a situation that made them feel like they had to use some type of deadly force. And so when we say that those people are innocent, are they really innocent? They're not really innocent. They were actually killed in the commission of doing a crime. Now, I'll bring this up, and some people might crucify me for what I'm about to say. We probably might actually lose some followers, but I'm gonna say it anyway because it's true. George Floyd was somebody that did not deserve to die. I say that because the officer, they should have reassessed the situation. They should have been able to look and see, like, you know what? No, we need to turn him over because he really can't breathe. He's saying he can't breathe. We need to turn him over. We need to reassess the situation. But George Floyd was not in that situation because he was just walking down the street and just ended up on his stomach because some officer decided to go and put somebody on their stomach. No, he didn't end up in that situation. He ended up in the situation was doing something he wasn't supposed to be doing. He was committing a crime, which caused police officers to go over there and handle the situation. And he was also under the influence of a lot of drugs, which means he was, in my opinion, was going through excited delirium. And we've talked about excited delirium before, where he starts acting very erratically, causing officers to have to use a level of controlling force and put him on the ground in the first place. If that situation is avoided, if George Floyd is not out there committing crimes, if George Floyd is not out there utilizing drugs, we don't even know who George Floyd is. I can go on and on about similar situations, about interactions with law enforcement in the community where police officers have had to take the life of a person of the community. It was usually because that person was doing something that they shouldn't have been doing in the first place. Unlike police, when a police officer is killed in the line of duty, like this officer that was killed in NYPD, he was responding to a call to help somebody out. He was calling because somebody called 911 and said, I need help. He goes there and he is ambushed. That officer has no idea that somebody is lying in wait that's trying to kill him. He has no idea. So that's where we differ. When people say comments like that, like we need to come with the same passion when innocent people are killed by police. Innocent people aren't dying at the hands of police like you think they are. Somebody even went on to say that police officers aren't dying like this all the time, like we say they are. No, they are. Unfortunately, police officers are dying way more than any innocent civilian by the hands of police. And so when we start putting rhetoric out there that, police aren't dying at the hands of the community like you think they are, no, it is happening. It's happening a lot. You can actually go onto the law officer memorial the officer down page and see exactly how much officers are dying in the line of duty.
23 this year.
There you go. 23 this year. And we're not even through the,
one a day.
We are not even through the first month of the year. And we already have 23 officers that have died in the line of duty.
It's January 23rd.
January 23rd. So you have one officer a day that's died in the line of duty. And you want to sit here and tell me that officers aren't dying in the line of duty like we say they are? No, they absolutely are. Tell me how many people have been killed by police innocently that did not deserve to die this year. And I can tell you I know of one so far, and that's that girl that died in Burlington Coat Factory. She didn't deserve to die, but the suspect is the one that started that situation. So, yeah, she didn't deserve to die, but it wasn't like police went out there intentionally and said, we're going to gun down a 14-year-old girl today. Yes, we should have the same passion for that 14-year-old girl, and I do have that same passion for the 14-year-old girl. But when you try to tell me that we should be coming with the same passion anytime a person dies innocently at the hands of police, that don't happen all the time. It doesn't happen as much as you think it does, but because media tells you it does, but because social media does, but because Instagram does, but because TikTok does, now you go out there and believe this rhetoric that people are dying every single day innocently at the hands of police. No, I got to stop you there. And I have to stop people from saying that, you know what, we need to come with the same energy because innocent Black people are killed at the hands of police every single day. No, it hasn't happened like that. It's not happening. You can go on. We have to, at some point in time in society, we have to get to the point where we can honestly and legitimately look at the facts for what they are. The facts will tell you that people that die at the hands of police, unfortunately, were justifiably killed by police because they were doing something they shouldn't have been doing. They were reaching for a gun. They were reaching for something. They were trying to actively stab somebody. They were actively killing somebody. They were actively kidnapping somebody. They were actively assaulting a police officer. They died justifiably by police because they created the exigent circumstances that made the officer respond the way they did. We have to get real about the facts and be real and understand the facts for what they are. And we got to stop believing this rhetoric that's pushed out there because it's making you believe what you believe.
And the comment is irrelevant. And I know that this is your boy who left the comment, Ryan, but people who leave comments like that like attention. Like, I made a comparison or I gave an example a few episodes ago to where if I tell Ryan and Billy, my dog only bites Black people. If you guys come over, chances are it's going to bite Ryan, and they still both come over, and then my dog bites Ryan, right? Like those of you who listen to that episode will remember what I'm talking about. That same process that was left, or that same thought process that was left in that comment would be like if my dog bit Ryan and then Billy jumps in front of me and he's like, I got bit last week. Don't talk to Ryan. I got bit. Have sympathy for me. It's like, bro, like Ryan is actively getting bit right now, but here is someone who has been bit, or in most cases claims that they know somebody that's bit. That's like, hey, what about this person that was bit? What about this person that's bit? And it's like, what's the purpose of this? Like that just tells me how much you love attention. Like you're seeking attention when you do things like this. Like, oh, this grieving person who lost a police officer can't have the opportunity to share his message without someone saying, well, I saw something online that appeared to be this way, and this woman deserves to grieve as well. Like, no one brought her up. No one brought that video up. That's a completely different state. That officer wasn't involved. There's zero relevance behind you bringing up grieving mothers and comparing them to grieving co-workers and colleagues of a fallen police officer.
Yeah.
There's none. There's absolutely none. It's like saying, well, this was wrong, so now this is wrong, and we're going to put them on the same level. It's like, what are you doing now? Like you're legit just trying to take attention away from what is happening and put it to you, which lets me know that you love attention.
Yeah. And for those that say that we don't come with the same passion, let me tell you this. Now, I can't speak for all police departments. I will tell you that. And I'm not saying that some police officers are worse than some police departments are worse than others, because there are some police departments that are way worse than others. But I will tell you, I have literally experienced what it's like and how we respond at my own department anytime we've killed somebody or anytime we've killed somebody while doing our job. And even though the shooting itself was justifiable, even though like the way the person died at the hands of police was justifiable, my police department has gone above and beyond to make sure that we still show a level of empathy for the family. I'll give you an example. We had a shooting a few years ago, and this guy pulled a gun on our police officers, pulled a revolver on our police officers and pointed it at him. He was shot and killed. Our police department, our chief at the time, invited the mother into our department of that son, of the mother of that suspect. She invited him into our police department and sat down and had conversations over and over with this mom, because she still empathized with her as a mother. She still understand that, yeah, your son, even though your son did something he shouldn't have been doing, it still doesn't mean that it's not going to be hard, that it's not going to be, you're not going to hurt inside. You're not going to have pain inside. Yeah, we know that he died because he pulled a gun on police officers, but it doesn't get rid of the hurt that mom experiences as a mom. And so what our department did is we went above and beyond to make sure that mom felt okay, that she had closure. Yeah, we can't bring her son back, but we're going to do whatever we can to make sure you have the closure you need to understand why everything occurred. Mom was even able to be provided with the body cam footage, so that way it provided her that much even more closure. I'm telling you, there are a lot more police departments out there right now that are doing the same things, that are inviting the people that have the family members of somebody that died by police. They're inviting them into their doors to give them the closure that they need, to give them the passion. But just because you don't hear about it, it doesn't mean it doesn't happen. So when we keep saying that, oh, well, you need to come with the same passion for those that are killed innocently at the hands of police officers. No, this stuff happens every single day. You just don't hear about it, because you know why? That's not the stuff that's flashy. That's not the stuff that garners news attention. And it really shouldn't garner news attention. We shouldn't be publicizing that stuff. We don't want moms to we don't want to be saying, hey, let's invite the Channel 7 News in here today while we show mom, the fact that we're going to coddle, the family of the suspect. No. And I'm not saying coddling in a derogatory way. I'm saying, no, that's legitimately what we're doing. We want to basically make them feel like, you know what, we still got you. We understand that this is tough, but we also need you to understand that we also had to keep the community safe, and we had to keep the officers safe. This happens every single day, and we're not going to publicize that stuff. But stop believing the hype and saying that, oh, you know what, we don't have passion anytime we make a mistake. Police officers, I'll be the first to tell you, that police officers make mistakes. I will be the first to tell you that. Matter of fact, I've called out when police officers make mistakes. We're not going to be perfect. But this idea that you have that we are out there, you know, gunning people down, mowing people down innocently, you know, going out today and say, you know, I'm gonna go kill me about 2 people and I'm gonna go home and sleep peacefully tonight. You got to get rid of that idea, because that's not happening today. We're not living in the 1950s. We're not living in the 1940s. You know, we are living, it's way different now than what it was back then. And a lot of people will beg to differ. They say, oh my goodness, racism is this and that. No, there's still racism that exists. As a matter of fact, one of my best friends sent me a text message yesterday that was extremely racist on so many different levels. And that's in a different profession. That's in a different profession. But you don't see people coming in and putting these people on blast. You know why? Because in that profession, it's entertainment. And it will be that goes against the status quo. Of course, we're not going to call out people that are racist in the entertainment industry. I feel so bad for my buddy when I saw that and when I heard that, because I know what he's going through. But nobody's going to bring attention to that because it's in the entertainment. It's not popular to do that. So that's what makes me so upset when I see these arrogant comments and just ignorant comments out there, because you're really taking away from the people that are really hurting by the situations at hand. So
internet warriors, man. That's all. That's all this is. And you know, unfortunately for us, like we created this as a nation, as a world, you know, however you want to look at it. Like we created this mindset, you know, of feeling comfortable saying whatever you want to say and having zero repercussions for it. You know, growing up, if you were to say something crazy to someone's face, like you would probably get popped in the mouth, and there would be a fight, or there would be an altercation, or there would be an argument, or there would be some sort of repercussion for you saying what you said. Right, wrong, or indifferent, that was the reality of the way that I grew up, at least. And that no longer exists, which allows people to hop online and say whatever they want to say, despite how vile it is, and despite how disgusting and negative and just divisive it is in nature. So, you know, we're going to have this. What I want to focus on is kind of what Ryan brought up a little bit ago. And we have a right to be mad. You know, we absolutely have a right to be mad. I can't imagine if, you know, one of my family members were to die and then someone was to comment a disgusting comment under a post that I put of that loved one who passed away. But we need to focus on how we can prevent it. You know, we need to use that anger on how we can prevent it. Or if we do get mad about it, and mad to the point where it affects us in the way that we think, the way that we sleep, and you know, just kind of takes years off of our life, then we need to figure out a way that we don't get mad about it.
Yeah.
And I know that may not sound right. And I know that may be hurtful to individuals who have lost loved ones and experienced these comments and this hate. 2 things. The first one is I've experienced it as well. So I can relate. Like, I have empathy for you. Like, I 100% can relate to what you're going through. But 2, it just makes sense. Like, I'm telling you, it's not going anywhere. It's not going anywhere that people are hateful, and people will get away with what they can get away with. And when you combine those 2 things, that's what you're going to have with the internet. You're going to have hateful people who get away with things that they normally wouldn't be able to get away with because they're online. So seeing as we can't get away from it, and I know that it's not right. Like, I'm not arguing the fact that it's wrong, but what I am saying is we can't change this. So what we can do is change how it affects us and how we maneuver, because the same principle applies to a bully or someone that we experienced when we were in school that would go out of their way to mess with you. The more that you feed into it, the more energy that they give back to you. But the moment that you realize, I'm above this, not only am I above this, my profession's above this.
Yeah.
The day that I put this badge on and I rose my hand and I read that oath proudly to serve the city, the municipality, the country, the county, the village that I serve, the state that I serve, the United States that I serve, I also said that I am above this negativity. I will not feed into it. And the moment that you read this comment and it doesn't affect you and you keep right on pushing and you combat it with the positivity that we go out and we do every single day as a profession, the close to 1 million police officers who go out here and flawlessly do their job every single day across this country will be the day that they lose and we continue to win.
Absolutely. Man, that's good. That's why I have AJ, because AJ calms me down. AJ gets me to the point where I'm not ready
to do, man. It's easy to do, and like I've been there, man. Like I've been there where I've read a comment and I've been so mad. Like, man, I need to find this dude. I need to find where he lives. I need to go to his house. I need to knock on his door so we can have a face-to-face conversation about what he or she said. But then it gets to a point like, what am I doing? Like, I'm falling into this trap. Like, I'm falling into this negativity. Like, I'm taking years away from my life because this loser who has absolutely nothing else to do with their life wants to hop online and leave negative comments. Like, what do I look like then? Then I look like that same type of person. Like, I look like I had that same mentality, that same toddler mentality of like, well, he hit me first. Like, okay, you know what? You got your jab in. I'm going to keep on moving. But guess what? I'm going to keep on elevating to a position to where your arms can no longer reach me because I have goals and aspirations in my life that I want to reach.
Yeah, no, I agree. I guess my only thing about that is like, if the comment was directed to me, then like you and I've learned, like, I don't even trip. Like when people direct stuff at me, I'm not even tripping. But I think I have a more of a level of passion because it's directed at somebody who's going through hate or hurt and pain right now because
100%
their loved one was killed. And that's what makes me mad, because if the shoe were on the other foot, then that person wouldn't be having that same comment. They wouldn't be having that same mindset that they have. And
can you imagine? Think about that for a second. Can you imagine if someone was to die? Like say there was a police officer that killed somebody, right? You know, we'll rewind. Say George Floyd, the video of George Floyd that went viral. Can you imagine if a police officer went on that video and commented something like that?
Yeah, exactly.
Holy, they be in prison, boy.
Exactly. Yeah, and somebody said, you know what? Well, I mean, yeah, we should be upset, but you know, you guys need to have that same passion the next time a police officer dies in the line of duty or something like that. So,
well, and I think also what might make you angry, correct me if I'm wrong, it's not just some random guy saying something that's absolutely ridiculous. Like, you could imagine one of our high politicians saying that exact same thing.
Yes.
You could imagine the news saying that exact same thing when you know it's that's not reality.
And you don't even have to imagine it because it is reality, because they are saying
what's angering is like it's being pushed in our face. They're like, this is not true. Why do I keep seeing this?
It is, but listen, I got to be careful how I say this. I work in an area where I have had politicians come for me. Specifically, come for me. Come for the agency that I work with. These officers are racist. This officer does this because of X, Y, and Z. But I'm still here today. You know why? Because I've got receipts. Like I have receipts for everything that I do. Like I have community members that I could call who will vouch for me. I have clergy members who will stand shoulder to shoulder with me and march to town hall or city hall in a city council meeting. I have advocates who will advocate for me on my behalf and say, yes, this is who Officer AJ is. So I hate to like repeat this, but in a different way. Like the moment that we realize like, we can't change. I mean, we can, and I don't want to say it like in a way that we can't change this, but like as of now, like this is the hot topic, right? Like this is what's cool. It's cool to hate police officers. It's cool to say police officers are X, Y, and Z because you have your own political agenda that you want to elevate. You might be mayor and you want to be governor, or you want to be have a Senate seat. And the only way to do that is to show the people how woke and cool you are. So you're going to throw your own police department under the bus. But the moment that we as a profession see that and we go, okay, I'm going to continue to do what I do, which is flawlessly do my job every single day. But then I'm going to take the step above and beyond, because there's no other way to make you swallow your words than results. There's no other way for me to make you swallow your words than results. You can't argue with that. So it's for everybody that's ever come after me specifically. Oh, AJ does this. AJ is this. AJ is that. I'm still standing where I am standing with the platform that I have and the supporters that I have more than ever, because I have results. I don't let someone else coming in my lane derail me or slow me down because I'm so hyper focused on my goal. And a lot of times, like in this profession, we see this and we slow down to address things, to where really the proper way to address this is to mash your foot on the gas and keep going. Like, keep doing what we continue to do, which is do our job flawlessly.
Yeah.
Every single day. Like, there are literally, I think there's roughly between 800 and 900,000 police officers in the United States right now who day in and day out do their job flawlessly. But yet we see the same handful of videos regurgitated over and over and over and over again that they attempt to use to make us look bad as a profession. So we'll say over this year, the Burlington Coat Factory shooting. What other law enforcement shooting was there, or any use of force this year, January, 23 days into the year?
And if there is, you got to go out and find it. I mean,
you got to go out and find it.
Yeah.
That's the only one that I could think of, that Ryan could think of, that Billy could think of. Okay. So you have one video. So let's break this down really quick. One video, 23 days in. The odds are already extremely in our favor, right? We're talking 1 in 23. Now let's do let's take it a step further. 1 in 800,000. Now that's on the low end. 1 in 800,000 police officers who flawlessly go out and do their job every single day. Does it make sense to you now? Does it make sense to you now? You being the person listening to this, you being the person watching this, does it make sense why we do get upset when we see this? And we get upset for two reasons. We get upset because, one, we don't want that person to stain our image and to stain our badge and to stain the reputation that we have worked so hard for. And we know that it's wrong. But we also get upset because we fail to do that math in our head. This is 1 in 23 days already on our favor. Yep. But even more importantly, it's 1 in 800,000.
And that's why I say, look at the facts. When you look at the facts, it will make sense. And yeah, I get it. The one sucks and one is too much. But at the end of the day, will we ever have a perfect profession? Nothing in life is perfect. Nothing in life is perfect. You know what I mean? So we can't even expect to have that, that perfection that people are wanting us to have. So what I want to do is I'm going to transition. We're not going to do a one has to go today because I'm going to end this podcast on a little bit more of a somber note. But I really want to emphasize and re-emphasize what we've been talking about today. So last year I talked about, when you go to these these police officer memorial services, they are hard. I've been to a lot of them as an honor guard member. I've been to a lot of them. They are difficult. The most recent one this isn't the most recent one because I went to one after this, but one of the more recent ones, I went to Sergeant Vaca of the San Bernardino County Sheriff's Department. He was actually killed last year in the line of duty. He was chasing somebody was running from him on a motorcycle. Long story short, they get off the suspect flees his motorcycle. Sergeant Vaca pulls up a couple minutes later because he loses sight for him for a few minutes. The suspect is lying in wait, and as Sergeant Vaca walks up to the motorcycle to see where the guy went, the guy is hiding behind some bushes or something like that, and shoots Sergeant Vaca in the head. And that's how he dies in the line of duty. I went to this memorial service. And so what I did is I had Billy find the memorial video. I want to play part of this memorial service, and I want you to see how difficult this is. Bill, favor, cue the video up to 1 hour and 6 minutes. This was one of the hardest things to ever have to watch. And it doesn't get easier. These memorial services don't get easier. So go ahead and cue the video up to 106 and go ahead and play that when you have it up. So if you guys are in your car watching this, what you're watching is they're now they just got done taking the American flag off of the casket, which is ceremonial. We do at all the police officer funerals. They're handing the flag to the sheriff. And at the time it was, why am I'm drawing a blank right now. Sheriff McMahon. Sheriff McMahon was the sheriff of the department, and the sheriff is going to turn and basically hand the colors, which is the flag, to the surviving spouse of Sergeant Vaca. And so he's going to go hand it over to him, and very difficult to watch. You can hear a pin drop. All that this family has left of their loved one is a flag that commemorates their memory of their dad that was legitimately doing their service. But this isn't even the hard. I mean, this is one of the hard parts. Look at the family. The family is heads down.
Looks like his daughter sitting next to her on
daughter,
her right side.
Or no, so no, he had younger kids. So yeah, it might have been his daughter, but he had younger kids. But this isn't even the painstaking part. So I was gonna say, this is a part I want you guys to really key into, and then I'm gonna be quiet because you guys have actually heard this before. And if you guys are watching this in the car, make sure you guys go and watch the YouTube version.
Sam 5 Victorville. 9 Sam 5, unit with Sergeant Vaca, Victorville. All units stand by for a tone out. Code 33 is channel for final call. Sergeant Dominic David Vaca was fatally shot on May 31st, 2021 while answering the call for duty. He gave of himself while serving his community with courage and valor. The men and women of the San Bernardino County Sheriff's Department are forever grateful and proud to have served with Sergeant Vaca and will never forget his ultimate sacrifice. All units break for a moment of silence.
My dad was a deputy sheriff for 17 years, and he protected people he didn't even know, just like he protected me, my baby sister, mom, and all our family. He taught me to be brave, kind, and always take care of my family. On May 31st, my dad showed up to work, a job he loved. He was brave, kind, and took care of his partners. Dad, I remember the lessons you taught me and share them with my sister. I love you forever and will miss you every day.
Dominic, may you rest in peace knowing your strength lives on in your wife. Your legacy will be carried on through your daughters, who will know their father is a hero, and your honor will continue with all of us. Sergeant Dominic Vaca, you are clear to go EOW and rest in paradise. We have the watch from here until we meet again. Code 33 lifted. Victorville clear.
I'm sorry, but there's no comparison. You can't compare the way an officer dies in the line of duty to somebody that's out committing crimes when they die at the hand of police officers. I'm sorry. Yeah, death sucks. And especially if it's your loved one that's out there committing a crime and they die at the hands of police. It's not going to make your funeral any easier, I guarantee it. But what I will say is there is a difference. There's an extreme difference between comparing the way an officer who selflessly gives his or her life in the line of duty trying to protect somebody else than a person that's out there committing a crime that they shouldn't be doing, and unfortunately their life is taken by police. There's a difference.
Yeah.
And when we get to the point where we are comfortable with, comparing and making comparisons, that's where we got to really take a self-check and realize and say, you know what, I am a part of the problem, or I need to start speaking out against the people that are actually out there recklessly endangering our communities and putting not only the officer's life in danger, but the rest of the community. So that's all I got.
Yeah, ain't much to say after that, man. There ain't much to say to that. That's the one part of the funeral. I shouldn't say the one. That's one of three parts of a line of duty death funeral that it'll get you every single time. And for those of you who don't understand, we mark in service every single day that we go to work, like we mark in service. And that is the division of police, the sheriff's department, the county, wherever these heroes worked. That's their end of watch. Like that's them officially being marked out of service forever.
Yep. So, well, hey guys, I appreciate you guys sticking around through this episode. Again, this was a passion episode. And for those of you guys that are new listening to our podcast, when we say a passion episode, we call it passion episodes because this is where, not to say we don't have passion in other episodes, but there's some episodes that really, ring a chord with us more than others, just because this hits home. And I realize this can be me or AJ tomorrow when we go to work. And so we appreciate you guys sticking with us. But more importantly, I think the work that we do through this podcast is important, and so important that this message needs to get out. The way we combat the people that leave comments like this is by educating them, not by get into a hostile back and forth bantering session with them, but just like educating them on what's real and what's not. And so in order for us to educate them, we need you guys to share, like this podcast, like and subscribe to our YouTube pages, our channels. So that way we bump up in the algorithm. That's just, unfortunately, that's how it works. You need people to like, and you need people to subscribe, because the algorithm sees it as something that's trending, and more people that are not in our warm field will start to actually get access to this podcast. And so and I'm only asking if you guys like this podcast, and you've been subscribing forever, make sure you guys share with somebody, and make sure you guys continue to hit the like button, because that like button is going to continue to bump us up. But we appreciate you guys. We love you. And with that, we'll see y'all next week.
Peace.